Hello and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober, and today we have a lovely show for you. A new exhibition at Tel-Aviv's Museum of the Jewish People shows how Jewish clothes maker went from tailors to fashion superstars. The fresco A Resurrection receives a new restoration. And the classic film An American in Paris is headed to Broadway. But first, some updates from the American Music Awards, which took place on Sunday night at the Nokia Theater in Los Angeles. Australian rapper Iggy Azalea won her first awards ever, taking the prize for Favorite Rap/Hip-Hop Album and Favorite Rap/Hip-Hop Artist, beating out veteran rapper Eminem.
This has made it all worth it. I think musicians, we receive so much critique. Sometimes you question what you're doing, and this really validates that
British heartthrobs One Direction received 3 awards, including the top prize for Artists of the Year.
Does it ever drive you crazy? Just how fast the night.
Not one to be outdone, Katy Perry also took home 3 awards, including Best Female Artist and Single of the Year for Dark Horse. Beyoncé, Calvin Harris, and Imagine Dragons also won awards in their respective categories. So at the end of the day, the top American Music Awards went to an Aussie, a group of Brits, and Katy Perry. From tailors to cultural heroes, Dream Weavers is a unique exhibition dedicated to the contribution of Jewish designers to the world of fashion. It features dresses, jewelry, and accessories from 20 world-famous Jewish fashion designers. Sandy Fortis visited the exhibition, came back with this.
From New York Jewish quarters in the 1960s to fashion designers of the 21st century. This is a story told in a new exhibition at the Bet HaTfutzot, the Museum of the Jewish People.
The Museum of the Jewish People is about to start looking at Jewish history in a different angle, and the different angle is not looking only at persecution, expulsions, and killings, but also celebrating Jewish achievements, Jewish creativity, especially in the modern era.
Dream Weavers tells the story of how today's fashion world has been inspired and influenced by the work of Jewish tailors who immigrated from Europe to the United States after the Second World War. 17 iconic names were chosen for this exhibition: Donna Karan, Ralph Lauren, Victoria's Secret, Marc Jacobs, and Michael Kors, among many. Each one of them has contributed a dress, and some even created a special one for this unique display.
Some of them come from Jewish tailors' families. What is Jewish about these dresses is something that I can't answer. But I believe that every artist and every creative person, when he comes to create something, he brings with him the heritage, the values, the culture, and the roots of his family.
They all have a common background. They were all born to American Jewish families in Israel.
I think that we have heritage in ourselves. I mean, we can be aware of it or not, but it's there because we were born in a Jewish house or we had the Jewish experience. So the way that we express our believing or our faith or our wishes has to do something with Judaism.
In our home, fashion was important, like food and love. Our parents gave us a lot of love, but my mother loved fashion. She loved, and when I was a kid, I was designing my mother dresses. When I was 7, 8 years old, my bar mitzvah, my mother dress I designed her shoes and her handbags.
The dark display room highlights the dresses, creating a dramatic backdrop suitable for fashion.
It's beautiful. The dresses are displayed as if they were floating in the air. Here they are really developed. Usually they are worn by models. There is the dress, the star.
It's very exciting to see the evolution of this business, know the story, how it started, where it came from, and especially how far it happened. And then to see such beautiful pieces so close to such a level, it is orgasmic limit. environment.
In the Middle Ages, being a tailor was one of the few professions that Jews could practice. In the post-war period, many worked in dire conditions in crowded factories. Today, this area of expertise is considered a prestigious profession which requires true talent, a creative gift that some designers were able to use to climb to the top of the fashion world.
We now head to Italy, a country which has some of the finest works of art in the world. Among them is The Resurrection by Piero della Francesca, a work that's been called the most beautiful piece of art in existence. It's about to undergo a complete restoration soon. David Gombin has the story.
The town of San Sepolcro, Tuscany, a city known for being the headquarters of the famous Buitoni Food Company, but also as the birthplace of Piero della Francesca, one of the greatest early Renaissance painters and creator of The Resurrection.
It is very evident that this painting is, first of all, very, very opaque and very dirty. There is this yellowish appearance that is caused by the accumulation of materials which are not pertinent to the original painting technique, to the original paint film.
The fresco had been ignored for many years until it was discovered in the 19th century by John Addington Symonds, an English Romantic poet. In the 1920s, English writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley called it the finest work in the world. But destiny would change for this masterpiece. In the summer of 1944, among the fighting and destruction in a battle between Allied and Nazi forces, an American officer who had read Huxley's description refused to bomb the city. This saved The Resurrection from destruction. The painting seems to have significant luck, and it also conveys a powerful message.
Is not something that appeals your emotions. It's not like Caravaggio. I mean, where you have this very rough kind of emotions. Here you are called to contemplation. And I think that this is very Piero della Francesca in general, and this painting is the quintessential Piero della Francesca piece of art, because you are called just to stay stable.
For the destruction of the restoration, the mural will remain visible and will have a dedicated team of experts keeping track of the work's progression. Once restored, the display of the painting will remain open to everyone, as it is believed the painter would have wanted. The restoration is exemplary in terms of funding. In a country which is in serious financial trouble, it is a public-private partnership that will give this masterpiece a second youth.
Very impressive piece. Now, a cult musical film is coming to the stage just 6 decades after it was made. An American in Paris, the Gene Kelly starring work by George Gershwin and Leslie Caron, has been adapted into a stage musical that will play both Paris and Broadway. Sandy Fortis has more.
This thing we've begun is much more than a pastime.
An American in Paris, the legendary MGM film, will soon come to the stage at the Théâtre du Châtelet in Paris. It's the first co-production of this French cultural institution with Broadway, the undisputed capital of musicals. The event was organized by director Jean-Luc Choplin.
Cette musique est tellement extraordinaire, tellement forte.
This music is so great, so strong, so well known. Gershwin was a wonderful creator of songs. I told myself, you have to go to New York to meet and convince Gershwin's family to do this.
Les Gershwin de faire cela.
The state of composer George Gershwin had already been approached by US producers, and they decided that Choplin was the right person for this collaboration. And so this ambitious project was born. A musical comedy adapted from a cult film, a process made more prevalent in recent years that still runs against the way it used to go.
This is Paris, and I'm an American who lives here. I'm a painter.
Very often a Broadway show is a stage show, and afterwards it becomes a film like Sound of Music or My Fair Lady. €10 million later, 70 people, including 34 singers and dancers and 19 musicians, meet in Paris, and after several weeks of rehearsals in New York, the result
is a successful adaptation. Well received by critics, the dialogues have been altered, some songs deleted, and the screenplay adapted to the reality of today. I Got Rhythm, sung by Gene Kelly in 1951, right in the Montmartre neighborhood, surrounded by naive children in Technicolor.
I got rhythm. I got music. I got
My gal, who could ask for anything more? Who could ask for anything more?
Turns into a song sung by adults in a bar. An American in Paris version 2014 will play until January the 4th at the Châtelet Theatre in Paris. Then it heads to New York, where it will play at the Palace Theatre until April of 2015.
Classic. In a moment, we'll hear of a non-profit organization dedicated to preserving the music of Mali. But first, our cultural recommendation for the day.
World War I, Love and Sorrow is a display about one of the world's most destructive conflicts, recalled through the experiences of 8 people, among them a mother awaiting the return of her son, brothers from Tyre rivers fighting on the Western Front, and a Jewish-German soldier on the other side. The stories of World War I soldiers and their families remain profoundly touching. Over 100,000 Victorians enlisted, survivors returned forever and changed, but many never came home at all. The aftermath is still felt today. The exhibition includes over 300 objects and photographs, each of which tells a story of love and sorrow.
Daniel Campos is here now with his mix of world music and Latin charm.
Hello there, how are you?
You have it all, Campos. You simply have it all. I'm good. What do you have for us
today? Today I brought some very interesting videos of Instruments for Africa, a non-profit organization of Paul Chandler, who wanted to share this with us. It was I-24. He's done some great work helping promote and preserve the cultural heritage of Mali, multi-ethnic, multi-religious country. It was a very rich musical heritage. Why don't we start out by having a look at one of the videos?
Please, let's. What are we going to watch?
The first one is dedicated to an instrument called the balafon, and we're going to meet the Kone family from Mali.
Let's take a look. They're quick.
Very quick indeed. It's an instrument which they have been performing in their family for many generations, and the balafon has many important meanings and symbolisms in society. For example, if 2 people are fighting, they could hear the sound of the balafon and they'll stop fighting. It brings hope. It reminds people that rain will come in times of drought. And many other spiritual also.
Just tell me, what happens in places like Mali, in those sorts of places, that leaves these very special instruments on the sidelines?
And it has to do, it's a culture in which instrument is part of the social fabric.
Right.
For them, it's part of religion, it's part of life, it's part of celebrations and ceremonies. It's part of also empowering a society and bringing all the people together from different tribes, different religions. Maybe we can now have a look at another video of a woman who has overcome many challenges through singing.
All right, let's take a look. Tell us more when we come back.
ina baba kulbal mi woni ina baba
What was she playing there?
Well, Ina Baba Coulibaly here, she's playing, we know these as calabashes. It's like sort of like a type of gourd, some people call them, or dried pumpkins.
Yeah.
And they use them for percussion sounds. And this is a woman who also, I mean, her father didn't want her to be a singer, but she actually pushed for it. And she went against, let's say, what society was telling her.
All right. What else do you have for us?
Well, to close, I wanted to show you guys Takamba music, which is played in ceremonies such as circumcisions, weddings. And we're going to meet the Super Onsev Gao, who also challenged extremists.
All right, so I'll tell you what, we're almost out of time, so I'm going to thank you, and we're going to end with that video. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you, Oded.
We're done for today. I hope you enjoyed watching our show. Please join us again tomorrow. And until then, here are some sounds of the Takamba from Mali.
Don't